What's up everybody, in today's video I'm going to be teaching you how to find your main in Rainbow Six Siege. Let's get into the video. So the first thing that you need to understand when trying to select a main in Rainbow Six Siege is first of all, you shouldn't be trying to find a main operator. You should just be playing whatever your team needs or whatever you're good at for that matter. But if you want to find a main and you want to find somebody that's reliable for you, then keep watching the video. The first thing I want to talk about is there's a bunch of different roles in this game, right? So you can have people that are meant to play support, you can have people that are meant to get a lot of kills, people that are meant to watch flanks, people that are meant to get walls open, people meant to stay on cameras, stuff like that. There's a bunch of different roles in the game that you need to understand in order to be able to select the one person that you want to play on attack and defense. Now for me personally, I would select 2 on attack and defense because your main might get banned, right, if you're playing somebody that's super common. But if not, then you're not really going to worry about it. I'll give you an example as a start. So talking about the roles, let's go more in depth. I've made a role guide if you want to get really in depth on what each role does. I'll put it in the top right here. But essentially, we have support players. So that's all the hard reachers, Ace, Thermite, Hibana, Maverick, whatever it may be. And then on defense, it looks like area denial people or people that are meant to keep walls closed. So Bandit, Cade, Smoke, Mute, Mira, both of the healing operators, etc. Right? Those are considered support operators. The healing people might be considered flex, but it doesn't really matter if they're healing operators, right? And then you have fraggers, so people that are meant to get kills. They use utility selfishly to get kills. People like Alibi, people like Vigil, people like Ella, Cav, Oryx, Mozzie, and so on, right? And then on attack, you have people like Ashe, Yana, Glaz, Blackbeard, Nock, Ying, Amaru, and Yana. Now, just because they're selfish in the way that they use their utility to get kills does not mean that you're being selfish playing these operators, because every single team needs dedicated fraggers to be able to actually get kills and get entry picks to win the game, right? It's not all utility. This game is a very utility heavy game, don't get me wrong, but you need somebody that's able to frag out. So typically, if you have very good gun skill, at least comparative to the people that you play with, you should try to stay within this role of getting entry picks. And it's not even just about gun skill, right? You have to worry about your positioning. Are you playing really slow paced? Do you position yourself in ways that make your gunfights easier? Do you know when to push, right? Just stuff like that can make you a very good fragger. For me, for example, I played this game competitively for about a year, and I didn't have the best aim, right? As a matter of fact, on my team, I probably had the 3rd best aim, but they still stuck me on second entry because I knew how to position myself and I knew how to pace myself as a fragger better than the other kids on my team, right? So there's a lot that goes into playing a fragger specifically, and that goes for every other role, right? Hard reach, you need to know when to use your utility on hard reach. You need to be playing more passively. You need to be very utility focused and not dying within the first minute and a half of the round. You need to play with your team. You need to know when to use smokes, flashes, when to plant the diffuser, stuff like that. So there's a lot that goes into choosing your main, and the first is choosing your role. So like I said, if you like kills, you like getting kills, play a fragger. If you like using utility, getting walls open, playing more passively, sitting in sight, winning rounds, I would play support. And if you're kind of in the middle and you do what your team needs and you bounce between the through, you can play flex, which is a lot of different operators. For attack, it's mainly the flank watch operators like Zero, Nomad, Gridlock, and then people that bring really niche utility like IQ, Buck, Sledge, Thatcher, stuff like that. And then defense, it's the exact same thing, really niche secondary utility. I'd say a good flex operator would be Warden, Azami, maybe considered a support for Azami, but I like to consider her a flex. Malusi, Wamai, Jaeger, Castle, great examples of flexes in the game. For me, it's really hard for me to find a main because I just play what the team needs, right? I don't have a specific main. So if you're like that and you just play what the team needs and you're good at doing that, then you don't even need to watch this video. But if you like playing hard support, I'll give you 3 really good hard support mains that you should be playing on defense. First of all, being Smoke. Smoke is the best defender in the entire game in terms of consistency and how you're able to play him. He's very hard to learn but easy to master. I actually just made 2 separate Smoke guides, which I'll put in the top right here. But Smoke is a very advanced operator, but he's very useful, and you can get a lot of value out of him from just not knowing how to play him. Much more if you know how to play him correctly. Overall, very good operator. Next is going to be Bandit. Some people consider Bandit to be a fragger, but if you're using him properly, which means bandit tricking, you're staying on the site or near the site anyways, and you're not getting into gunfights. So if you're playing him correctly, he's actually a hard support. So that being said, Bandit is great right now. He is the only counter that we have to the EMP grenade meta. So if you learn how to play Bandit and you learn how to bandit trick walls, he is outstanding. And then the third one that you can consider manning would be Aruni. Aruni you can bring to every single site. She's very versatile. Her guns are a bit hard to use, especially if you're on console, but if you can master the DMR, or if you're good with the P10 Roni, she can be an outstanding operator. She brings so much much utility to the table. She has a fist that can punch holes, so you have a lot of site setup potential with her. You bring a lot of utility, etc., and that is why she is so good. Going into 3 attacking hard support players that you should consider manning. One would be Ace. Ace is the perfect balance between all of the hard breachers, especially in a solo queue environment. He has a big enough breach where you can just walk into it, but he also has a ranged breach like Hibana, so he can use his hard breach in a lot safer situations. He doesn't actually have to go up to the wall to be able to breach a wall open, so he's very safe to play. He also has an AK, which is the best weapon in the entire game, and overall is just a solo queue powerhouse. Number 2 is going to be Osa. Osa is a hard support now, especially considering that she is a 3 armor and she has EMP grenade. She's definitely meant to get the wall open and sit behind her deployable shield after the wall is open to get some free picks and to slow down the pressure off of the wall. So Osa is great if you're playing hard support. Learning where to place her shields, learning when to place her shields, and that being good at her weapons is going to be very effective for your team after the wall is opened. So I definitely recommend you learn how to play Osa if you want to play hard support. And then going into my 3rd hard support is going to be Hibana. Hibana is a great solo queue support operator. She's essentially like Ace, but has way more versatility, but her breaches are a lot smaller and harder to use. Her guns are amazing, and overall is very good for solo queue, especially with her flash grenades. She has a high kill potential, while still being able to be very useful and versatile towards her team with what she can destroy. Now I'm going to give you 3 fragging operators for each side, starting with defense. A great solo queue fragger for defense is going to be Capcan. Capcan is a bit frowned upon, especially in the higher elo, but he's actually very, very good in terms of win rate and the amount of potential you have to have a high skill ceiling with him. A great map for Capcan is Border, because a lot of places you can hide his Capcan traps. Skyscraper, the exact same thing. If you know where to put his Capcan traps, he's very, very good, and he has a high kill potential, especially with his SMG. It has almost no recoil, and with the extended barrel now, you can get a lot of damage with it. With a 1.5 times scope, his kill potential is through the roof. The second fragger I'm going to talk about is Mozzie. Mozzie has the best balance between drone denial and information in the entire game. He can move around his drones, use his drones to drone out enemies or to keep them inside to where attackers don't shoot them as hidden cameras. He's also good for drone denial because, again, his pests take over drones, so you can use all 3 of your pests on the roam so they can't drone you out, and then if they do, you get to drone them, and is overall making his kill potential through the roof because you get information and they don't, so you waste a lot of time. You get a lot of free kills, especially with the P10 Roni with the 1.5 on it. It's absolutely insane. That being said, Mozzie is a great fragger for you to main, especially in ranked. Next operator I'm going to talk about is Ela. Ela is amazing in this meta right now because of the extended barrel for her shotgun. You can use her shotgun very reliably behind the deployable shield, just like you would do with smoke, and her Grismot mines make it very easy to get kills, especially if they're stunned, especially with your shotgun that does a bunch of damage. That is a very high fire rate. It also has a very low reload time because it's a clip shotgun. So Ela's shotgun is amazing. That being said, her fragging potential is through the roof right now because she just got buffed in a way because of her shotgun, and her stuns, again, make it very easy for her to get kills. That being said, she's definitely in my top 3 for solo queue fragging operators. And then we have attack. My number 1 spot is going to go to Yana. This is probably the best fragger in the entire game. She has so much explosive utility. Her guns are S tier, and she has infinite droning. That enough is just amazing for an operator. If I had to pick one operator that I mained personally that everyone should be manning in Rainbow Six Siege, it is definitely Yana, for sure. 0 doubt. Next is Nook. Nook is an amazing solo queue operator. A lot of people on console and a lot of people in the lower elo say that Nook is bad because her ability is kind of dog ass. I do agree, but the versatility that she brings outside of her utility is actually very good. She has the option between hard reaching charges or frag grenades, and being as it that there's only 4 people in the game with frag grenades, this is very valuable. Her gun is also very easy to use, very good, and if you use her ability correctly within like the last minute and a half of the round where they're not looking, you can easily wipe up the kills as a 3rd entry player. This being said, Nook is actually a very good operator, especially in the higher elo, and that's why in competitive play and pro play, she had a 100% ban rate for 3 seasons of Siege. Next operator is going to be Twitch. They did take away her vertical grip, which made her recoil a little bit harder to control, but if you have a high sensitivity or you're just good at controlling recoil, it doesn't really matter. They also gave her another drone, so now she has 4 drones, 2 of them being shock drones, so she's very versatile in what she can do and what utility she can destroy. Her kill potential also is very high with a 1.5 on an F2, already an amazing gun. Also, she has the 417 DMR, which is still pretty good for kill potential as well, so don't sleep on that. Twitch is very good in this meta right now, especially you can just destroy any sort of utility that may try to kill you in a fragger friendly meta. She's just very, very good, so I definitely recommend you pick up Twitch if Yana and the other operator do not suit you. So with that out of the way, that's pretty much all the operators I could talk about for fragging and for support. Now, if you don't want to play any of those operators and you want to find a solid main in the middle that you can play no matter if you want to play on support or no matter if you want to play in a fraggish way, Welcome to the flex role. Flex is a role that is meant to sort of capture the aspects of both hard support and both fragger, and they're meant to kind of mix the two into one operator so that you can do what you need when the team needs it. For example, if one of your hard reachers die, you can play somebody like Capitao, who still has a high kill potential with his AR, but he still has hard reaching charges to get the wall open and smokes to get the plan down. So great example of a good main there. Now Capitao is not one of the best flex operators in the entire game. In fact, there's a flex operator that's extremely good right now that I've been playing a lot, that is probably one of my mains, and that's Flores. Flores has 4 explosive drones and 2 other drones, meaning he has 6 drones, and 4 explosive drones is so powerful. Like I said, we're in a gun skill heavy meta, right, where people are going fast paced, people are getting kills a bunch, so being able to destroy Malusis or deployable shields that make it a lot easier for defenders to have gunfights is very powerful. He also has an AR-33, which is a very good gun with a 1.5 times scope or 2 times scope on it. So Flores is just an absolute powerhouse of an attacking operator. I definitely recommend you play him. If you want to be even better at getting frags though, and you're not really feeling Flores, these 2 operators are by far the best attackers in the entire game that aren't fraggers, and that is Dokkaebi or Lion. Now, honestly, if I had to pick one man in the entire game other than Yana, like I said, I would probably pick Dokkaebi. Dokkaebi is probably the most powerful operator in the entire game for higher elo right now, because she completely takes away all defender information. She gives you a bunch of information with that information, and then also she's great at roam clearing, and her DMR is very good if you know how to use it. If you're on console, sorry, play Lion. But everything that I just said about Dokkaebi also goes for Lion. So if you want to play in a more flex kind of way, do what the team needs, roam clear a bit, get in some gunfights, these 2 operators are definitely for you. Now going on to flex operators on defense, let's talk about it. First of all, Azami, like I said, S tier operator, outstanding. She essentially brings 5 deployable shields, and her SMG is very easy to use, so I definitely recommend you pick up Azami. If you want to play somebody that isn't her, or she gets banned a lot, or you just have teammates that select her, I'll give you 2 other options as well. One being Castle. Castle is one of the hardest operators in the game to learn to play correctly, but once you know how to play him correctly, he can be used in a multitude of different ways to make him extremely useful. Castle is just an amazing operator overall. You can't bring him every site, but when you do bring him on the sites that he is needed and you play him correctly, he can be an absolute monster of an operator. His UMP is very good right now because it has a 1.5 and the extended barrel buff, so playing him would not be a bad idea, and I definitely recommend you pick him up if you haven't already. Next is going to be Lesion. Lesion is the easiest operator other than Sledge in the entire game to learn. You put his Lesion traps on every staircase you see and on every doorway you see, and you essentially have free information with one of the best SMGs on defense. Very easy to play, very easy to learn. You can play him in any sort of way you want. You can anchor with him, you can roam with him, you can lurk with him, doesn't matter at all. Play Lesion, you will probably win the game. And then coming into my number 1 flex operator, I think it is definitely Mute. Mute is probably the most versatile operator on defense. He has so much potential to have wall denial, but also drone denial. He also denies the 2 strongest operators on attack right now, which is Lion and Dokkaebi. So having him right now in this meta is outstanding. He also brings a shotgun and an SMG-11, just like Smoke does, which is what makes him partially so good. So Mute is amazing. Like I said, I'm a flex player, right? So I kind of play what the team needs, but if I'm not doing that, Mute is definitely my go-to. He's my main for sure on defense. I also have a man on attack, which, like I said, is Yana or Flores. Doesn't really matter, but personally, that's just my main. So we talked about roles, we talked about depending on what role, what operator you should play, but ultimately, if you want to know what operator to play, not based off of roles, there is one very simple answer, and it is the operator that you're best at, right? If you're really outstanding at Tachanka, you're the best Tachanka player in the entire world, you have a 1.5 KD on Tachanka, but Tachanka's not the best operator in the world, your team, let's say, needs a Jaeger, pick Tachanka anyways. Fuck your team. Do what makes you win rounds. At the end of the day, whatever makes you win rounds is what's going to win you the game, so you might as well just play who you're good at. That's kind of the mindset that I've had throughout my entirety of playing ranked. I used to be that guy that would play any operator the team needed. I would play the Jaeger, I would play the Cade, I would play the Bandit, I would play the Smoke. Didn't matter if my team needed it, I would play it. Didn't matter if I was bad at it, good at it, didn't matter. And I found myself hard stuck gold, hard stuck plat the most of my career. And then I was like, I'm just gonna play who I'm good at. So I went to Overwolf, or I went to like r6tracker.com, and I saw like my highest KD on every operator, and I'm like, oh, my highest KD is on Wamai. I have like a 1.7 on Wamai, so I'm just gonna start playing a shit ton of Wamai. And I did that, and I got all the way to diamond, right? Like at a certain point, just pick who you're good at and make that your main. If I had one tip to help you find your main, just play who you're good at. With that out of the way, that's pretty much it for the entire video. I know this was a long one, but there's a lot to say. If you like these style of videos, I post 4 times a week and I post on TikTok, so sub the channel if you want to get better at the game. Like the video if you liked it. My name's Alka, and I will see you in the next one. Later.